Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of August 2018, and if you're wondering why the heck are you recording on a Wednesday now, well, I have decided to just record this episode pretty much 5 minutes ago because I, as you may have noticed, wasn't here last weekend, and really I've got plans for the couple next weekends as well. So I decided, well, I'm home alone. I was going to knit, but I wasn't really able to relax anyway, so I might as well chat to you guys, chat about some knitting and get another podcast episode out. So that's what we're doing. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Not sure how professional this episode is going to be. Not that I'm super professional in the other ones, but this one is very much off the cuff. But yeah, and if you're coming back, of course, thank you ever so much. Today I will not spend much time talking about knit-alongs and such. You can find those in the group on Ravelry, which is called the Happy Knitting Podcast Group, and that will be linked right underneath this video. You can find me on Instagram as the Happy Knitting Podcast. So this time I'm just going to jump straight into the knitting, because first of all, there's a lot of stuff to show you, and second of all, while it is still summer, it is not. It does get darker sooner now, and I'm recording this after work, after dinner, so I'm not quite sure how the lighting is going to go. So we'll see how that goes, and let's just jump straight in. So before I go into newly finished objects, you might realize or notice something that I'm wearing. This was my finished object from last week, and my hair is crazy. Except back then it was a sweater and I was complaining about it not fitting. And a couple of you guys suggested, why don't you steek it? And actually it was so many of you that I overcame my fear of steeking. And so as you can see, now it is a cardigan. The fit isn't perfect and I don't have any buttons. I did make buttonholes, but I haven't ordered any buttons yet. But it is a cardigan now. I don't want to talk about the steeking process in too much detail, but this was my first time steeking, and if you haven't steeked before, which is essentially cutting your fabric after you've knitted, usually you do a steek panel because you know in advance that you are going to cut. I obviously didn't do that because I was intending for this to be a sweater. So I asked you guys for help, and lots of you suggested to be safe to use the sewing technique, but I didn't do that. I went with a crochet reinforcement. I did a couple of swatches. They're really ugly. I swatched this twice. I knit a swatch in the round in the same pattern and the same yarn, and then I just did a couple of steeks, and I did notice that some in the color work, some ends were popping out because obviously you don't have that steek panel and your stitches just aren't that secure. So what I did when I steeked this cardigan is, how do I show this to you? I did a crochet reinforcement, but I didn't just have like one stitch in between, but I think I had 5 stitches in between to just give it some more space, so you can see the reinforcement possibly there. And then before cutting it, I did attach the button bands because I wanted to do that with I wanted to avoid putting too much pressure onto those poor ends that were going to be cut. So I did the button band first, then cut the whole thing. Then I sewed down the steek, and I also just went in and stitched down a lot, just in this color work section. It wasn't a problem further down here. But in the color work section, I did just a lot of hand stitching just to secure everything. And it works, you guys, it works. I was really scared to wash it, and I'm still scared to put buttons on it because that will of course add some additional strain, but it works so far. The fit isn't great, but it is much better than it was when it was a sweater. And I'm actually finding this much more useful in the cardigan version as well. So very happy about that. Thank you to everyone who helped out. And if you do want a more detailed explanation, please do not hesitate to ask. I will try to make some time next week or something if you're interested in that. In terms of newly finished objects, I have one as well. And I put it on the wrong sock blocker, I'm realizing now. But I finished my Halloween socks. So these are socks knit out of cozy knitter yarn in the colorway Ghoulish. It came with a matching mini for heels, cuffs and toes, which I did. I also have a second sock. These are going to be for me, so I did 64 stitches, US size 1 needle. I did afterthought heels, as you may be able to tell. And yeah, I really love them. I'm also really excited to have this year's Halloween socks already done. And as you will see in a second, I have now moved on to Christmas socks, so I think my knitting is well underway and I really, really love these. I was so happy when I found this yarn in a D-stash in Germany, because you might know that it is quite hard to get a hold of yarns from overseas. Or it is possible, but then you risk customs and shipping and all that. So very, very happy about these. These were really fun to knit and they went quite quickly as well. So that is it in terms of finished objects, and I'm racing through this, but oh well. It is Wednesday night. I've had a couple of annoying work days, nothing too major, just kind of annoying days. And I'm coping with coffee and that's not helping. Alright, I have a tower of project bags right next to me, so I'm just going to start from the top. In my coffee project bag from Lovely Ellie, in here I have my sweater, which is the Threepmere sweater by Isolde Teague. And I'm sure I've butchered that. But you guys, remember when I last showed this to you? I kind of had finished the yoke and separated for the sleeves, right? So I have now actually finished the entire body, which looks like that. It's kind of crinkled because it's been stuffed in a bag. And I have also started the first sleeve. So I am still absolutely in love with this sweater. I actually blocked this halfway through knitting the body because I was worried about the fit. So you may be able to tell a line where the yarn has been blocked, it has softened up and also just become a bit more even. But all in all, I love this sweater so much. And I think the the sleeves are going to go quite fast as well. This is a fingering weight yarn theoretically, but it is a very thick yarn and woolly yarn, so it doesn't really feel like a fingering weight sweater. The yarn that I am using for this is Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. The colorways, which are just numbers, are on my project page if you're interested. And oh my gosh, you guys, this may be my new favorite colorwork sweater yarn. It is so lovely. I really, really, really love it. So I'm very eager to finish this thing and then wear it a couple of times. And if it wears as well as I think it's going to wear, I can see lots of sweaters in this yarn in my future. Can you just see how lovely the fabric is that it creates? It's just beautiful. So yeah, that is my Threepmere. I don't know where that name comes from, but it's very hard to pronounce for me. Like I said, I'm knitting this for me. I kind of went into the modifications of this last week. Essentially, I modified it, but knit the yoke somewhat to the pattern, and then of course I'm doing my own thing for increases and decreases. In this one, I did a panel of decreases on the back, which I don't think you'll be able to see because I like that for my personal fit. No, you can't see that. But I didn't do any waist shaping because I wanted this to be somewhat just like a comfortable, slightly oversized sweater, and that's exactly how it's coming out. So I am very, very happy with this. Don't you just love it when you have this idea of how you want a sweater to fit and then that actually happens? Very, very happy with this sweater. Next up, let's do some socks. So I haven't shown this to you, but I have a half-finished object, a hoe, as they say. I cast on a pair of socks for Kai. Talking about Kai, first of all, you probably saw the video that the two of us did, the Fiber Friends tag, and you guys, that was so much fun to record. And your response has been so fun. It's been overwhelmingly positive. I think Kai is more popular than me now, which is entirely fine with me. But thank you so much for the amazing comments. Kai felt really flattered, and I think now he is willing to come back maybe sometime. And as you probably heard, he loves his socks, and a lot of you guys said, knit him some more socks. So here I am, knitting more socks for him. So these are socks from a German dyer that I had met at a yarn festival in the beginning of the year, but I've never actually, I bought a couple of skeins back then, but never got around to trying it. And I finally have. The yarn is by Liz Me Knits, and I hope I have the tag. Yeah, there we are. She's a German dyer, but she was in the US for a very long time, so I think she might be even more well known there than in Germany. But this is her tag, Liz Me Knits. This is in her Toon base, which is a 90-10 merino nylon yarn. And this is, I think, more of a sport weight or a very heavy fingering weight. The colorway that I used is the Spring Breeze colorway, and those of you who know Kai will know that he loves these colors. So I knit these because the yarn is slightly thicker. I knit all these on 2.5 millimeter US size 1.5, I think. And I did 60 stitches. I originally started with 64, but that was way too big. So I went down to 60 stitches, did a vanilla sock for Kai with a garter stitch fish lips kiss heel, and he loves them. I haven't started the second sock. I really should, because that is how I will actually not neglect them and never work on them again. But these are really fun. I love the colors, they're very vibrant, and the yarn, it's a really nice base as well. So these are socks for Kai, and as I previously mentioned, I'm also knitting socks for myself. I'm still knitting on my Christmas socks. I decided to start my Christmas knitting early because last year I got all these Christmas yarns, but then only knit Kai some Christmas socks because of course his socks always come first. So this year I'm determined to knit my own Christmas socks as well. The yarn that I'm using is one of Regia's Christmas yarns. They came out with this, they call it Season Color. It's a line of Christmas themed yarn. They have a couple of different ones. This one is colorway number 9408. I'm pretty sure this is the Adventskranz colorway, if you're German. And I have finished the first sock and am ready for the heel for the second sock. So without a sock blocker, this is what the sock looks like. Isn't it so fun? I think it is so pretty. It is self-striping, self-patterning, good old German sock yarn. I did a very long leg for my standards. I think this is like 70 rows of stockinette, and I love these. I love a good rustic German sock yarn, and this is exactly it. It is definitely a little bit rusty. These will pretty much wear forever, and I'm really enjoying knitting with commercial yarn at the moment. So the first sock is done. The second one is ready for the heel. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about these. They are knit on 64 stitches, US size 1, and these ones will be for me. I also have another colorway of this yarn. Like I said, I knit one for Kai, and I have another one that I picked up, or my sister picked last year, so I should knit that as well. And yeah, really enjoying this yarn at the moment. Very sorry if you want to get this. I'm not sure if August is a great time to get it. I'm sure it'll pop up again in stores nearer Christmas, but I'm very sorry if I'm causing yarn envy. I just picked this up and had this lying in stash for half a year. Actually more than that. I think I bought this yarn, I found it last year in like September, October, so who knows, maybe it'll come back soon. All right, next up, let's talk about my shawl because I've finally been working on it and I'm almost finished with it. So the shawl that I'm talking about is my big brioche shawl. This is the Residence shawl by Lavagna Patricella. And I am knitting it out of Ching fiber. Ching fiber is based in the UK, in Scotland? I'm not quite sure. This is her label. Both yarns are in her single base. And the purple is the cuttlefish colorway and the yellow, neon yellow, is the smiler colorway. So I'm knitting this brioche shawl and I'm almost done, you guys. I'm going to show you both sides. It is quite big and sorry for all the needles clanging. So this is the one side and it's very hard to show this because it is too big for the needles really. And this is the other side, so you can see it's this sort of alternating brioche, which is a really fun stitch. It's very simple and I really like the sort of graphic effect that you get with these yarns. Just to give you a close-up, it's a very loose brioche and I'm planning to block this. I know lots of people don't block their brioche and I have done that in the past, but for this one I kind of want it to be really big and less squishy, believe it or not. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Theoretically I have 6 more rows to go, but I think I might only do 2 and just leave one of these blocks out and then move on straight to the fringe. So this has a pretty big fringe. I've never been a person for fringe shawls, but I think this one might actually look really good. And it is really crazy anyway, so what is the harm? So who knows, maybe I finish it tonight, but I should be finished with this by the next time I podcast for sure. So that is my squishy brioche shawl. I'm very curious to see how this will block out. I hope it's going to be nice and big and ready for winter. And then my last project is actually one that my dear sisters Elisa and Pauline cannot see, so if you're watching, please look away. Alright, so they're gone. So I mentioned before that I am going to knit sweaters for my sisters for Christmas. And I have started the first one because I just really thought I should get going and at least get a start. So in my amazing thimble and thread makes bag, which I love, and no, I'm not sponsored, I just love it, is my first Christmas sweater. So I was originally going to do the flax light, but just in terms of the flax sweater, which there's a fingering weight version and a DK Aran weight version, but I didn't get gauge for either one of them and I didn't feel like messing with patterns. But I got perfect gauge for the Pavement Sweater, which was my second favorite, and I love this Pavement Sweater. It might, in terms of just the way that it looks and it fits, I might actually prefer that to the flax. So I decided to knit a Pavement Sweater for my sister. And the Pavement is a pattern by Vera Valimaki. I knit one for myself, which I sadly knit a size too small, so I'm planning to knit another one for myself at some point. But now I'm knitting one for my sister and I may actually use the same pattern for my second sister, so we'll see how I feel about knitting another one once I have 2 more of these complete. Anyways, let me show you what I have first. I'm just waffling on. So this is where I am with it. The Pavement has a really interesting sort of top construction, which I personally think fits really well. It's also really fun to knit. So I have finished the top section, I have separated for the sleeves, and now I'm just knitting down the body. So really this is like sock knitting. You just go round and round and round, and I'm using sport weight yarn, but the gauge is still relatively loose. I got a 22 stitch gauge over 4 inches. So I think this is going to be a really pretty jumper and it's going to be perfect for my sister. So yeah, this is where I am with it, just knitting in the round and using US size 6 4mm needles. And the yarn that I'm using, I talked about this yarn in the past. This is from Fair Alpaca, which is a company, they're called Fair Alpaca in Germany. I think they're called something else overseas, but you'll just have to check that yourself. They're a company that gets quite high quality yarns, especially ethically produced yarns, and they source them and then sell them in sort of like big bunches or big packages to kind of make it worth their while and make the pricing okay. So I bought 300 grams of this baby merino by Fair Alpaca. Their labels aren't hugely helpful, but if you're interested. So I got the dark red for one of my sisters, and then I got a dark navy for the second sister. But this is what the tag says. I talked about this in more detail in the past as well. And I got the merino. It's a superwash merino. I like it. I don't love it. I think lots of people would really, really enjoy this because this yarn, you guys, it is so soft. For me, it feels a little bit too, I don't want to say superwash-like, but it's extremely soft. So this would be great for baby knits. It's also quite affordable. But as you know, I do like the sort of woollier, more rustic yarns lately. So my camera does this thing lately, which I hate, where it just stops recording and I record entire segments of the podcast and then they're just not there. Not fun, you guys, not fun. But I recorded a big whole part of this podcast because you guys, so much stuff has come in. I'm kind of embarrassed. And now that it's all out all over my desk, I don't really want to just pack it back up and show it to you next week or whenever I podcast next. So I'm going to re-record this. I'm probably going to go through this quite quickly, so sorry in advance. And if you do not like haul videos, this will be not your thing because this is a lot of wool piggery. I will say it in advance, I have no shame. And yarn apparently is just drawn to our place and just wants to knock on the doors and be here. And yes, I'm just waffling. So let's talk about some yarn. First of all, you may have noticed that Kai always has green and yellow socks. And I showed you the socks that I was knitting for him, the green and yellow socks by Liz Me Knits. And I said to him, you need some other sock yarn that is not green or yellow. And funnily enough, Liz Me Knits with Christiane, she had a big sale going on, so Kai picked up some yarn and so did I. So the skein that Kai picked up on sale is this one. It is not green, it is not yellow, it is this beautiful vibrant blue together with this black. This is the colorway Welsh Slate by Liz Me Knits in her Ulm base, which is a 75-25 merino nylon sock yarn. So I think these will be fantastic socks for Kai. This is also really, really, really soft. And then Christiane also had some yarn on sale on a, honestly, I think too cheap sale. But I think she is fading out some of her bases. At least that's what I remember her telling me when we met in the beginning of the year. So I picked up 2 skeins of this incredibly affordable 100% merino yarn. This is her band base. It says made in the US. It's a fingering weight 100% merino yarn. It is a 2-ply. And she just had some random colors left over. Sadly, not enough to get a sweaters quantity. But I just picked up these 2 4-ounce skeins, thinking these would be great Christmas gifts, knit up into some pretty cabled hats or something. But then now I'm thinking they would also be a really cute matching hat set for me and Kai. So I could do like a violet waffles hat and do this one, which is pumpkin for me, and this one, which is sky for my boyfriend Kai, and that would be really adorable, right? So maybe that will happen. I'm not quite sure, but I'm happy to have some solid yarns in my stash. Next up, I was completely enabled by Instagram because someone was knitting with this beautiful commercial sock yarn, and you guys know how much I love my commercial sock yarn. And this yarn was Zigzag by King Cole. I've never used or seen King Cole sock yarn before. I think it is quite accessible in the UK, but not really in Germany. But you know me, I am easily enabled, and I found a German yarn store or online store that sells especially these sort of British or UK based commercial sock yarns. So their name is woolhouse.de. So they're in Germany. And it says knitting and crocheting in the English style. So this is their card, and they had really affordable prices, and I got free shipping. So I picked up 3 skeins of this yarn to try and justified it by saying this would be great gift knits. So I got this one, which is called Pinks. Then I got this one, which ironically is called Summer, even though I think this is the perfect Christmas yarn because it is white and green and red and a little bit of pink. This just screams Christmas to me, but it is called Summer. And then I got this, this is like a crazy colored self-striping one. This is called Blossom, and I just thought they were really fun. And you know me, I love trying new commercial sock yarn, so that's how that happened. And I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast because I am A, overheating, B, had too much coffee, and C, annoyed with my camera. Next up, what else did I get? I got my last shipment of the Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock Club. So if you do not want to be spoiled, please look away because I'm going to show it. And you guys, it is the most beautiful skein of yarn I have ever seen. You guys, look at that. Just take it all in. This is the Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock in the colorway Carnival, which is, like I said, a club colorway. And just look at these colors. I had this skein sitting on my desk today, and I just could not stop admiring it because the colors in this skein are just crazy beautiful, I think. Like, this is art in a skein. I can't say it any other way. This is just absolutely stunning. And yeah, can't stop going on about this. I absolutely love it. So that is my Hedgehog Fibers Club. That was the last shipment. I think I'm going to pause it for a while because I've been accumulating quite a bit of hedgehog yarn with these clubs lately, and now I need to actually knit with them. But I really enjoyed the Twist Club. This was my first time doing the Hedgehog Sock Twist, which is their BFL nylon base, and I'm really liking these. So yeah, that is that. And then I have a lovely knitty friend who decided to spoil me rotten once again. You know who you are. I'm not sure if you want to be named on the podcast. But she's a really dear fibery friend who knows me so well. So she sent me a couple of goodies, which is not the right term because she absolutely spoiled me, and everything she sent me just showed how much she knows me, which is insane. So first of all, coming from Texas, she sent me this adorable enamel pin of an, how do you pronounce this? Armadillo, I think. And this is just so adorable, and it's going to go straight on my project bag tonight. This is just the cutest. And then, because we're yarny friends, she picked up a couple of things for me. She went to one of the big fiber festivals, and I can never remember which one is which in the States. But she's the one who introduced me to mustache yarns, and she asked me if I wanted anything in specific, and I told her that I have been really wanting the Kama Sutra colorway, which is one of, I think, the most popular colorways by mustache yarns, and so she picked me up a skein. This has a really beautiful long self-striping color repeat, and I cannot wait to knit this. This is so beautiful. But then, of course, my friend, she decided to spoil me even more and got me a second skein of self-striping yarn, which is almost more exciting. This is by another dyer that I cannot get here in Germany. This is Rock and String Creations. It's also a self-striping yarn, and this is her Christmas colorway, you guys. This is Reindeer Games, so it is Christmas themed, it is self-striping, it is colorful. I love it so much, and I got very excited when this arrived at my doorstep yesterday, together with some goodies and a beautiful mini skein. Oh my gosh, you guys, I feel so lucky sometimes with the viewers and friends I make through this podcast. Crazy yarn everywhere. So that is it in terms of yarny purchases and such. I feel like I rushed through that. If I did, I am very sorry, but now it is actually, it's not getting dark, but light is certainly fading, so it made sense to try to hurry up. So not knitting related, but what's been going on in my life, I've been really busy. Not a bad busy, but just a very busy. I'm apparently so busy that I can't talk anymore, but I've been working all day, so I think that counts as an excuse. So yeah, with work, you know that I tend to travel quite a bit, and then last Friday, we had our summer event, which I did a lot of planning for, organizing the event, and then the event itself, which was full of like workshops during the day. Again, I did quite a lot of that, and then we had a big party at night, and it was really fun, but also of course quite exhausting. So I got back to Munich only Saturday afternoon, and then we actually went out. We had to go out at night again. So on Sunday I was just completely crashing, and that's kind of been the motto of this week. I've just been really tired, and I'm trying to take it a little bit slow, but it's not really working, and my next couple of weekends are going to be very fun, but also very busy, which is why I decided to podcast today. So spontaneously we decided that my little sister, my 17-year-old sister, is going to visit us or visit me for the weekend. So that's going to be very fun. I'm looking forward to that. But that, of course, interferes with the podcast. And then the following weekend, Kai and I are going away, which I am very excited about. Ever since getting back from my last holiday in the end of June, it's just been really busy, and really I think we could do well with a bit of a break. Sadly, we're only going Saturday and Sunday, but I'm hoping that getting away will be good for us. I guess it's, you know, we're also doing like the wedding planning, which is of course, or thankfully now, mostly done in terms of the big things, but it's just a little bit of additional stress, and I think having some just time, just the two of us, to not only plan our wedding but just spend time together will be quite good as well. Besides that, nothing really interesting has been happening. It's basically been wake up, knit, have breakfast, work, have dinner, knit and sleep, and then just repeat that, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to be busy, and I always enjoy it more if it's busy at work or in life in general, maybe even, than if like the days drag on and time doesn't pass. That just drives me up the wall, so I'm not really complaining. Okay, I'm just rambling on now, so I think it is time to end this podcast and hope that this time around the segment has actually filmed, and if it hasn't, my camera is getting replaced. I'm telling this to you, phone. Stop messing up. Okay, I'm talking to my phone now. So, oh my gosh, I have had a previous episode titled "This is why I don't record after work," and this is just another one that could have the same name. I hope you guys have a great time until I see you next. I'm not quite sure when that will be, but I'm sure I will pop up sooner or later. If you do want to follow me while I'm not podcasting, head over to Instagram. Until I see you again, have a great time. Have so much fun with your knitting. I hope you have all the pretty yarn to play with. I look forward to catching up with you guys in the comments and on Instagram and the Ravelry group. And until I see you again, happy knitting. Bye!